What's up guys, Heeking here, bringing you some more Resident Evil 7 goodness, and this one is to talk about the End of Zoe DLC that we're finally getting. So yeah, I didn't play any of the other DLC that's been out for the game so far. I've basically been waiting for this complete edition / gold edition to come out so I can actually take my time to play it. But as we all know, there was the second DLC that was released, did come with a prologue called Daughters, that had you play as Zoe during the beginning sections of the outbreak. Basically, it showed us how the outbreak with Evie and the Baker family occurred. Now, this DLC is called End of Zoe, so that means we're going to get a conclusion to a character. We're going to find out what happened to her character. Now, there is a trailer for this, and if you pay attention to the trailer, you'll see that essentially what looks to be Zoe in a molded cocoon on a swamp or beach-like area. We know that the DLC takes place in a new swamp area of Louisiana, probably somewhere further away from the ship and the Baker house, and that we're going to be going into a new area with potentially new enemies, and that this is basically supposedly being directed by someone who worked on the PT/Silent Hills demo for Hideo Kojima all those years ago, and that this DLC is going to be focused very much on horror and atmosphere and creepiness. So yeah, that's going to be one of those good things. It's less combat. Where the Chris DLC is going to be focused on combat, this one's going to be focused on horror. So that's actually a good thing. We're getting the best of two worlds with these DLCs, and the very fact that both of these DLCs have been worked on for nearly a year to 6, maybe more months, means that these are going to be at least, hopefully, a decent length. But yeah, the Zoe DLC, I'm starting to think that this DLC is going to confirm that the bad ending of Resident Evil 7 is canon. And the reason I say this is because if you watch the trailer, you'll see that Zoe is in a cocoon in a swamp area. Now, if you guys remember, if you pick Zoe, she ends up getting on the boat with Ethan after she's been injected with the cure, so Evie won't be able to control her anymore. But she still is infected, essentially, and she ends up being cocooned. However, the cocoon doesn't break apart, and she gets thrown off the boat, and we never see what happens to her. Whereas if you pick the Mia option, she's left on the pier, and we don't know what happens. We do know that when you before the end of the game, you meet Jack in what is essentially sort of like a hive mind sequence, and Zoe is there, but that could be a case of because she's been molded, she's in that hive mind environment, so she would be there, she would be present. It doesn't essentially mean that she's dead. Now, what I think is going to happen is that Evie gets killed and Zoe gets released out of the cocoon and possibly still infected with regenerative abilities, or maybe, I don't know, she's going to be going around maybe fighting whatever remains of the infection until she potentially maybe dies. But the other reason I say that the bad ending could be canon is because it makes more sense from a story standpoint for that to be canon, because once you start playing as Mia and get to the end of the flashback, she pretty much tells Evie that she's not her mother anymore, that she doesn't want to be her surrogate mother, and that Evie doesn't want her either. And for us, when Ethan ends up fighting her and killing her, Evie doesn't save her. She lets her die because she has no more news for her. And this is the same thing that sort of happens. This is the same response Evie gives to Mia in the option if you pick Mia instead. Evie pretty much disowns her. Yet she doesn't die. She has this moment of control where she ends up throwing Ethan out, so she doesn't have to fight him. Yet it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense when you're going through the ship and you've got messages playing on the wall saying that it's his fault that this has happened. So yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense. So I'm going to go with the fact that the bad ending might be the canon ending, which would be a first for a Resident Evil game. That, and also because when essentially when you play a Resident Evil game, the originals, the first ending you ever get in those games is usually the wrong or bad ending for those games. You don't usually get the actual true ending until you play it again or play it the right way. So I'm thinking this was sort of a clever trick on Capcom's part. It might not be the case. The Mia ending could still be good, but there's another reason the Mia ending is not the true one, because if you guys have gotten the Airsoft Albert gun, it comes with a booklet with Chris Redfield's supposed thoughts, and in that he only states about Ethan being alive. There's no mention of Mia anywhere in that booklet. So that, again, sort of solidifies the fact that the Zoe option is the actual canon one. I don't know. We'll have to see until the DLC comes out. Nothing confirmed yet. Nothing 100% confirmed, but it's something to think about. Anyway, guys, as always, if you like this, like and subscribe, whatever. And I shall see you when I shall see you. Take care and bye.